Tuesday, 11:15 p.m. If you know anything about Chicago politics, you understand why a 63-year-old ward captain was braving the ungentle hour and the less gentle streets. You see, ward captain Leo J. Ramutka was returning home from a wake, and auf Wiedersehen to a loyal registered voter he knew he would one day meet in that great polling station in the sky. What ward captain Ramutka failed to foresee was just how soon that meeting would be. Welcome to the world of Kolchak the Night Stalker. I'm so excited this week to have acquired this script. Now, you may know I am a script collector, but in recent years I have cut down in my script buying and saved it for really special ones like this. So, two things make this really special. Kolchak the Night Stalker was one of my favorite TV shows as a kid, and it has so much influence still on the writing that I do today, the shows that I still love. It's amazing, partially because it was a police procedural with paranormal subject matter, two things that really, really appealed to me. And then the writing was this amazing sort of noir style, which is similar to what I just read to you from the script. Kolchak's voiceovers had this super noir feel. And they also had a great way of imparting comedy just enough into the show so that you basically suspend your disbelief and go along with Kolchak for the ride. So the first reason this script is really important to me is because it is, I said, one of the shows from my childhood that has stuck with me forever and ever. It's from 1975. This particular one was completed on January 30th. It is the episode The Nightly Murders, which has a full suit of armored knight murdering people in town. And the second reason that it's really, really special is it is not only just screen used, which it clearly is, but we even know who it came from, and this script has been in that person's possession since 1975 when he filmed the show. So the actor who it belonged to is Greg Palmer, whom I actually recognize from a different movie, which this is what this picture's from. I know him really well from Big Jake, and this is where all this kind of weird universe thing comes together. I'm a fan of Westerns to some extent, but Big Jake is my absolute all-time favorite Western film and just one of my favorite films. It is a John Wayne movie. It's from later on in his career and has okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to realize I'm going to go down the rabbit hole if I start telling you about Big Jake. Anyway, so Greg played the villain despite the smile on his handsome face here. He played one of the villains. If you know Big Jake, all you have to do is think dog. And that's his big moment in the movie. I know it so well. So anyway, sadly, we've lost Greg. I'm assuming we have, as they're having an estate sale for his items. And this was one of dozens of scripts. Now, a lot of actors, because I know I've interviewed a lot of them, don't keep their scripts. A lot of times because they move a lot, scripts pile up, they get heavy. But he appears to have kept everything he worked on because they had so many of them in the estate sale. And that just in itself excites me. But when I realized that this was there, this Night Stalker one was there, I had to have it. I had to have it. So he played Sergeant Buxbaum in this. He's a burly police officer who helps try to fit a suit of armor onto a smaller man to prove that he is the killer in disguise. And again, it's played for comedy. He is a big guy, so it's probably a really funny scene. And I say probably because I have not seen this episode in a long time. I recently got the Night Strangler and Night Stalker movies on Blu-ray, which are super. I've got those over the last couple of years. Somehow, I didn't get the DVD of the whole Night Stalker series, but you can bet it's on its way to my house as we speak. So as soon as I get it, the first episode I'm going to put on is this one, so I can compare. One of my favorite things to do, compare the script to the actual episode. A lot of early shows are very close. There's usually some scenes that end up getting cut. It is a pretty hefty script, but I would say a lot of that is because there's a lot of dialogue in Night Stalker scripts. Despite the fact that it's somewhat of an action show, it's very talky again because it's in that more noir style. And then the other thing that points this out, just in case you didn't know, you'll see the pages are different colors. And if you look up in the top, let me see if I can get you a better look. So, oops, sorry. So second revised script, it doesn't want to focus. 127 and is pink. And then the blue page is 128.75. So if you see on the front, this is all the times the script was revised from the first time they printed it for people to review. So not too many, 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 4 sets of revisions. Each set of revisions is usually a different color page. And they do that so that it's really easy when actors are working. If they're on page 14 and their dialogue isn't lining up with everyone else, you can say, hey, are you on the pink pages? And they go, nope, I'm on the green page. Well, you've got the wrong revision. Or in this case, vice versa. If you're still reading the pink, you should have been reading the green. So the color pages were a quick way for actors and everybody really on the crew to know that a scene had been changed and inserted in a different color. If they were all just white pages, it would be really easy to confuse what had been a revision and what wasn't, because if you missed the revision at the top or you didn't know what the most recent revisions are, you'd have no way of figuring that out. I just noticed this line. Here, Kolchak enters a musty store stocked with stuffed animals and gear and gimcrack of a lethal Yule Gibbons. Remember Yule Gibbons? He was a big thing at the time. So I headed for Straight Arrow himself, Pop Stevenswald. And names like Pop Stevenswald, again, very typical of Kolchak. A likable old man in a flannel shirt stands behind a counter performing surgery on a shotgun. Beside him sits an ancient cash register and a sport shooting arsenal. What do you want, Kolchak? Hey, come on, Pop. Show me the old ivories. And as usual, Kolchak trying to schmooze his way into some information that he wants. And here's another one of Carl's voiceovers. There you go. Let's read it. Thursday, 2:12 p.m. Extricating myself from Captain Vernon W. Roush cost me 2 hours of precious time, wherein I learned that the only thing more maddening than certain cops was certain educated cops. I was in a mood for some fast, straight answers. Let's find another one. So a lot of these Kolchak voiceovers, whenever he would be driving in between places, let's see if we can find them. Let's find an attack. Sorry, I got here by the... Oh, here we go again, bottom. A glimpse of the Black Cross Knight advancing with a battle axe before Carl reacts. Kolchak reacts. Slams the door. The foot tread in the hall is very heavy. Minerva says, what's out there? Get something to barricade the door. The door shudders. The axe blade pierces it. Kolchak shoves his shoulder against the dressing table, moving it to the front of the door. Help me! The door and the dressing table explode in beneath tremendous force. On Kolchak, he is thrown across the room along with the dressing table and splattered perfume bottles. His head bangs against the wall. The dressing table topples over him, spilling perfume. Minerva, she races screaming into the bathroom, slamming the door. Low angle, armored feet crush a jewelry box. On Kolchak, out cold. Wider, a glimpse of the Black Cross Knight as he forces open the bathroom door. We hear crashing and screaming, and we fade out. End of Act 2. So fun. So this is let's get information on Coat of Arms. Sorry, I haven't read the whole script yet, which is why I'm excitedly flipping through it. Oh, look, Kolchak fell over. So the only downside, sadly, to this script, I mean, number one, obviously it's got a little bit of edge where the cover was pulling off. I had to put a new Brad in here. That's to be expected, again, because it is set used. When a script is too clean, it really does make me wonder if it really was used on set. But this was. If I can find the spot, I'll show you. Greg actually didn't have a lot to do in this. As far as I could tell, now granted, again, I only gave it a skim so far. He's only in one scene. And the other thing that you will see, and of course I can't find it quickly, is that he did bracket his lines. Now, the only thing better than finding a screen-used script like this is finding one that has notes in it. A lot of actors didn't bother to do that, and there's a really good reason why. Oh, here we go. Sorry. So this is the character he was playing. A big burly cop, Bucksbaum, appears at the battle axe of the Black Knight display. So this was his line, his one line, and then action that he has. So he underlined both pieces so he could at a glance know his part, or someone underlined them for him, whatever. But this does appear to have been his only part. Now, this is a revised page, so it's possible that he had a larger part in the original story and it was cut, or his character was added at the last minute, the other way around, and thus it's just a quickie little part here. The reason I would suspect, having not been an actor in the 1970s, but I would suspect the reason that a lot of actors didn't write on scripts is because they generally don't have them in their hands when they're working. They have script sides, which are little printed pages. And maybe we didn't have them back then. I don't know. These days they do. They're just like little miniature versions of the script that they can refer to quickly. So movie scripts more often have, especially more complex parts, will have people have scribbled lines on them to give them motivation and information they wanted to know. The scripts I have that have the most writing on them are production scripts, not as in not actors, like directors, prop people, people like that had to follow through a script and make things happen on screen, like keep track of items, making notes. I have an A-Team script that has, from the producer, that has so many notes on it. It's crazy, like how many changes they made on the fly while they were going. But so this one, again, just his few marks. But obviously, no question that it was his for so many reasons. I really love when I can follow the provenance of a script, knowing where it came from, and I will put notes with this as I pack it up, put it with his picture, and put that whole package together. So someday down the road, when I'm not here to enjoy it any longer, it will go to hopefully another fan who will enjoy the story and the script and knowing where it came from. So that's what I have to show you. Oh, I was going to show you the one other bad thing is does appear to be missing the last pages. It looked complete, but when you look at this, if you look at a glance, even a normal script page looks like that. You see a lot of the character names and the indents. This is an action sequence. Again, very typical of Night Stalker. At the end of each episode, as the creature pursues Carl usually, and he works to defeat it. So this happens here. The knight stops dead, slowly straightens, turns with a creak of metal toward the intrusion. Kolchak takes a chance, shoots another frame, then bolts for the corridor. So the monster of the week is just starting to chase him at the end of the last page. So what I'm assuming is this Brad was not here. These script pages, when you put these, I know from my own experience, when you pile these up, the brads tend to get caught on things and the front and back pages rip. So the front page did rip a little. We're going to be very careful about that. But it does appear that some of the back pages ripped off. Possibly they were never there. He didn't need them. That this actor wasn't in that last scene. It's still kind of unusual not to give the whole script to an actor, but they might have been changes or something that happened after and he didn't get copies. More likely, since this has been stored since the 70s, that as it got moved from place to place, the back pages ripped off. And they could be there. They might not be there. I got somebody on the lookout to see if perhaps they got stuck to something else. That happens a lot because, again, imagine brads up against the next script's brads. Sometimes the back pages will clip on to the front of the next script. That happens quite often. So that's a little sad that the back end, the last page or two, I'll have to see the episode to tell how many pages are missing. I would guess 2. The finish of the scene and then the tag. So probably 2 pages. But that does not lessen my joy of owning and touching and holding an actual script that was on the set of The Night Stalker with Darren McGavin. That's one of those things, if I could have been there, if I could have been there, I would have loved to have been there. So I'm very excited to have it, the ghosts of the Night Stalker, come to me through this script. And maybe it's fortuitous because I've been trying to work on a new project that definitely has some of its roots in the Night Stalker. I didn't even realize that until right now. So maybe again, this is the fates trying to tell me something. So I'm anxious to read it. I'm anxious to compare it to the episode. And I have talked way too long about this script, but I hope you enjoyed seeing my little piece of history and getting to virtually meet Greg from Big Jake. If you get a chance, watch that movie too. It's super.